Our first guest on Beyond the Booth is a fast-rising name in the UK's dance music scene. A DJ, producer and founder of the record label Redefy, his tracks are gaining support from some of the most well-known names in house music, including Michael Bibi, Jamie Jones and Prospa, with his recent release In the Morning on Sola and Armada Music accumulating over 400,000 streams online to date, and it is receiving radio plays all over the world. His DJ sets fuse garage, house and bass-heavy club energy, and he's been showcasing his sound at sold-out parties across the UK and beyond. He's a very exciting emerging artist and definitely one to watch, so we're very excited to have him with us here today on the podcast. Please welcome Mason Talbot. Mason, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Is this your first ever podcast?
Yeah, first ever podcast.
That's how you feeling?
All right, a bit nervous, but
good. Yeah. It's like it's a new thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
A bit different to being on stage in front of 2,000 people. What would you say is more comfortable for you?
Probably DJing.
Yeah. No, I get that. So it's so nice to finally meet you. I feel like I've seen your name on so many lineups around Lloyd's, and it looks like you've been really busy recently. Recently, Mint Fest. How was that?
It's probably my favourite set I've done yet.
Really?
Yeah.
What was so special about it?
I don't know. I played at Mint Fest twice before, but you know, like the resident stages. I run at 11:30. I just remember I was a bit nervous, thinking it was going to be really quiet, but like by 12, the tent were quite full.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, because on the videos, it didn't look like an 11 a.m. set.
No, it were really good, to be fair.
Yeah, nice. And I also saw that recently you played a Lab 54 set at a student house here in Leeds.
Yeah.
Is that right? How was that?
It were good, but I was like ill in the set.
Really?
I've been getting like migraines, so like in the set, I remember like right before like a migraine came on, so I just had to put some sunglasses on and like I used them Apple earphones, just so I could like turn it down. But it was loads of fun. But after the set, I was just like needed to go home straight.
Yeah, that must have been tough because I mean I've had a migraine before and you can't do anything, so it's impressive.
Nah, like I couldn't see. I had to like proper look at the screen, you know, to read it, because I lose my vision, like half my vision.
Oh no. Well done for getting through that. I mean, the videos look sick. You wouldn't have known. And I also saw that you've recently been in Ibiza. Was that work or was that?
A bit of both, to be fair. I went with Foz, my manager. I went to IMS. I did like a little set as well out there.
Oh, cool. Cool. Did you pick up any key things from IMS?
It was just more like networking. So we got to meet like label owners and stuff that I've not met before, and like these lads that run events down in Wales that I've not met. That worked with Lucas Alexander, so it was good to like put some faces to names and stuff.
Cool. I'd love to start the podcast just hearing from you. We covered it a little bit in the intro, but I'd love to hear from you what you do sort of on a day-to-day basis working in the music industry. A
lot of it, like at the minute, it's admin. So like the first half of the day, like I'll go to the gym and just like do my admin work. So like sometimes it's like updating my EPK and all that, them sort of bits, or like working on my release. And then at evenings, I'll go to the studio like pretty much every day. Sometimes I do lessons, but most of the time it's just like working on my own music, getting my sets ready for the weekend.
Nice. And are you out most weekends DJing now?
Yeah, most weekends. I've had like a couple weekends where it's been a bit quiet, but it's come at like the perfect time. Yeah. It's like I'm trying not to drink at the minute.
Yeah.
So I needed like a couple of weeks to reset.
Yeah, get in the studio and spend time on your tunes. So
definitely.
Cool. So I'd love to go back to sort of the early days of not necessarily your music career, but in terms of your early interests. Growing up, was music always a big thing for you, or is that something that you got into a little bit later? What was that like early?
It's always been like a massive thing in my life, and like as a kid, I was always doing like creative stuff like from when I can remember. So like when I found music, it was just sort of like the next step. I moved to England when I was 5. So I was originally from Wales. When my parents split when I was younger.
Okay.
So like I'd always be like travelling like 4 hours in the car as a kid.
Right.
So like music, like my mum got me an MP3 player, and that was like how I got into it. Because I just would have to entertain myself like hours at a time.
Right. So did you move from Wales to Leeds when you were 5?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. What was life like growing up? Were you in the city? Were you in the countryside?
Morley, about 20 minutes from here. It's like a town really.
Yeah, nice. Did you find when you kind of got to an age where you could go out to clubs and things, that was a big thing for you, or were you kind of surrounded by it a little bit growing up as well?
No, like no one in my family is like into house. I would say into house music. Everyone's like into like country, like everything other than house, really. But I went to like my first rave when I must have been 16 or 17, and it was Green Velvet. You know what it was a venue called Church in Leeds.
Yes, I remember Church.
So like before that, I was making music, but it was like hip hop beats. So I went to that rave, and then I just need to make this music now.
That's really cool that you transitioned from hip hop to
like trap
music.
Beats.
Wow, so you must have been quite young then when you started producing hip hop.
Yeah.
How old were you then?
I probably first like got FL Studio when I was like 14.
Wow, and what got you into that at that age?
I always messed with it. Like I run GarageBand as like a little kid, like 10. I remember I downloaded this stuff on my mum's computer. She used to go mad because I'd like download loads of software. They were called Virtual DJ.
Yeah,
so when I
remember.
like in first year of high school, I was already doing that. So then like when I found FL Studio, it was just like the next step, really.
Yeah, cool. And you mentioned Green Velvet was sort of like your transition to dance music. What were sort of your other early inspirations in dance music?
So like before Green Velvet, I was into dance music, but more like Deadmau5 and stuff.
Oh no.
Like, and Skrillex when I was like younger.
Yeah.
Like dubstep and like progressive house, but I sort of like stopped listening to electronic music for a couple of years. And then like tech house side coming in.
Yeah.
Like I'd say when I was like 16, 17, like that's when I found like tech house and Solid Grooves and Green Velvet and like Patrick Topping, like back when we were doing like hot creation stuff. And that's when I really got into it and like found this new style of music that I love.
Yeah, that's really cool. I can see like Skrillex will have been like really appealing to a young teenager because it's just so exciting. So I think that's a really nice passage into just like finding tech house and loving dance music. In terms of DJing, how did you transition from doing your production to then starting to DJ?
Well, I would DJ, I don't know, it was sort of like the same time I was doing both, but I'd say I was probably DJing before producing tunes.
Oh, okay. When did you get your first set of decks, or did you just go to the studio?
I think I was about 12. So I got Virtual DJ, and like for my birthday the following year, like I got some like really cheap decks.
Nice.
But then like I did it for a couple of years. Then I started making rap beats and like trap beats. And I stopped DJing for a bit, and then after that rave, like I bought some like Pioneer decks, and then I started getting into it again then.
No, cool. And can you remember what your first gig was?
So my first gig, like proper gig, was at the Works skate park in Leeds.
No,
so it's like an indoor skate park, and these lads called Arcade Switch, they turned it into like a rave for one night.
Oh, sick.
It was really good, to be fair. Like I remember like all the mates came, because it was like my first gig. Like everyone came. And that's like, after that night, I was like, yeah, I want to do this.
Yeah, that's really cool. And how old were you when you had your first gig?
I was 19 then.
Nice, okay. When would you say that things sort of kicked off for you? Was there a moment when you realised, right, this is not just something that is a hobby, this is something that I could actually make a career out of?
Probably when I was 21, I went to uni. I only did 1 year. I did graphic design.
Okay.
And that's when I put out the tune Cocaina. And like, I just remember I started getting booked and like my first paid bookings, and like when you're a uni student in your skin, I was like, wow, this is mint. And I think it was probably then, because I was just like making loads of music, started getting like paid like not a lot of money, but to me at the time it was like getting paid to do what I love.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, wow, I could turn this into something if I keep my head down.
Nice. And were you at uni in Leeds?
Yeah, Leeds Beckett.
Yeah, cool. And where were sort of the places that you were playing when you were first starting to get out DJing? Like
District, Wire, trying to think where else.
Yeah, cool places.
Like Hi-Fi, like mainly student nights, like Beaverworks. There were some of my first big sets for Beaverworks for the uni events there. And I used to do like bar work as well, like DJing at bars when I was younger.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's like proper taught me how to like read a crowd. I
was going to say, is that sort of like a different set to what you'd play in a club?
Yeah, completely different. Because it's like, you just got to play music that everyone's all right with. Because you're trying to please everyone. Yeah. When you're at a rave, it's like you sort of do what you want, I think.
Yeah, I think they put their trust in you a little bit more at a rave.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you ever implement your initial love for hip hop when you were playing in bars? Did you ever drop any hip hop music, or was it still dance music in the bar?
Dance music, yeah.
Cool. And then are you full-time in music? Is this something?
Yeah, full time now.
Nice. So what's sort of like, you spend most of your time doing your production, but you're out on the weekends DJing. So
Yeah.
yeah, nice, full-time, cool. Where do you get your inspiration from in terms of making music?
I don't know, it's hard. I feel like my opinion is like creativity don't come from like yourself, it comes from somewhere else. Because like I've had it before where I've thought of an idea like for a remix, and then next week someone's made it. And it's I sort of think like, I think Prince used to say this. Prince, like, as soon as he came up with a song, he'd make it. So like, if I don't do this, Michael Jackson will do it.
Interesting.
So I sort of feel like, it sounds like proper like I'm being a hippie, but I feel like it comes from somewhere else, if you know what I mean.
That's really good advice, actually. Just for people sort of like, you've got to get on your ideas quickly.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So on the topic of making music, you've recently had a new release on Sola and Armada Records in the morning, which I saw on your Instagram yesterday. It hit 100,000 streams on Spotify. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Insane. Could you tell us a little bit about the track and how it came about?
Yeah, so that track, I just made I made a quick edit because I love the original. So at the start, it was just like an edit for my sets. So it's like proper like the style that I love to play. But then I put it on TikTok. Like when I got home from the studio, it was just like, it already gone mad on TikTok. And like people would start, like the next day, people started making videos with the song, and I was like, wow, this could turn into something. I remember the week after, like after the weekend, my manager had like 4 different emails of like major labels, and it was a bit overwhelming, to be fair, like how many labels, because it got a bit confusing.
Yeah.
So we got really close to signing with a label, like a major label, and then like these things go on for weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
That's what people don't understand. Like, I was getting like bombarded, like, you need to bring this out now.
So what's sort of the turnaround time to you having this finished track to actually getting it out on a label?
It took 8 months for this tune.
8 months?
8 months.
Wow.
And obviously in today's time, like, tunes don't usually last a couple months.
Yeah.
On TikTok especially. So what I did, like, I just stopped. But as soon as like, we nearly signed it, and it was meant to come out last year, and then I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to stop posting about it. Because I thought if I keep posting, and then it comes out next year, like later in the year, it'll just like kill the tune. So I just stopped posting. And then my manager, he's already worked with Armada a couple of times. So then he was like, why don't we like go to Armada with the tune? So we went to Armada with it, and then they were like keen to jump on it. And then as soon as we signed with Armada, it was a pretty quick turnaround. Like the team there are really good.
Everything fell into place, and so like it'd all been worth it, I guess.
Definitely. I feel like it's ended up on like the right place.
Yeah.
And at the right time as well. It would have been nice if it came out last year, but it's because I sampled Moose T. It's like one of the biggest house tunes ever. So
what was that process like, getting that sample cleared?
Moose were really easy to work with, to be fair.
Really?
It was just like there's a lot of back and forth where I'm not even involved at that point.
Yeah.
I just stopped. Like, I didn't really look at the emails at that point because it's just like stuff I don't understand, like contracts and.
Yeah. Did you get any feedback from Moose on the track?
Not really, no.
No.
I don't think it's his style. Like I watched him at Ibiza, and it's a completely different style to what he plays, but
that's perfect, because that's what a remix is all about.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't want it to be the same style.
No.
It's really cool because I guess it's opening his style of music up to a new crowd, and everyone can appreciate that.
Yeah,
actually
definitely.
very cool. Yeah, no, it's a really sick track. How long did the actual track itself take you to make?
That's probably like one of my quickest tunes I've made.
Really?
Just because it's like if you listen to the tune, it's like really simple. There's only like a bass, one synth, and like really simple drums.
It's interesting because I feel like I've heard that quite a lot with artists saying that some of their most successful music was the quickest music to write. Do you think there's any other reasons for that other than the complexity of the track?
I feel like when you're in like a flow state, like when you're just putting stuff together, you're not like properly thinking, so you can just make a tune really quickly. And then sometimes like I always think if a tune's taking too long, it's probably just not the right tune.
Yeah.
But it's hard to make that choice sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I hear that a lot as well. Like the biggest tunes, like, oh yeah, it only took me a couple hours or one sitting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have any like pre-studio rituals to sort of like get you in that flow state? to write a good track?
Yeah, but I probably won't say it on the podcast.
That's cool. Just like a green tea and a chill.
Yeah.
Nice. So In the Morning has had a lot of support from some really big DJs. Who's been supporting the track?
It's like the first like big DJ to play it with Josh Baker, and then
Nice.
Bibi played it as well. That was like, I remember when Bibi played it, like I nearly threw my phone across the room because I was just, it was at a time where like the tune wasn't signed, it like all died off, and then I remember just seeing it on Instagram. Like my friend took a video and like sent me it on Instagram. I was like, wow.
That's mad. So your friend just sent you, it popped up on your phone, and you're like,
Well, I already messaged him because I went to America in 2022 and I met like loads of cool people out there, and he's at Space every weekend. Shout out to Jack if he was watching. But he was there like watching Bibi, and I sent him the tunes right before he went out.
yeah.
And then he like listening to like I think he said he listened to him like upstairs in Space. And then like when he was down there, like he came on, he just sent me the video straight away.
That's it. Because that's like, they're giving you, did you say that was in America?
Yeah,
That's
Space, man. Yeah.
How does that feel to know that your tracks are being played by Michael Bibi in America?
Yeah, I was in. I didn't sleep much that night when it happened. So I've been sending like Bibi my music since like 2021.
Yeah.
And he's like, a lot of times he's actually replied with feedback,
Nice.
which is like, it's not common that someone does that. So
No.
I've kept sending music, and I still keep sending music now.
That's really cool. He seems like a sound guy, and obviously like he's killing it. So
Yeah.
On the topic of DJs that have played your tunes, I know that Luke Van Dyke played one of your tunes one time and you had a story about that. Is that right?
Yeah. So we played it at we were both playing at the Warehouse. This was only, I can't remember how long ago it was, like a month or so ago.
Nice. Warehouse in Leeds.
Yeah, the Warehouse in Leeds, and I was DJing upstairs and I was playing that Skepta edit. And then he came, like, he was watching my set and I didn't realise. And he just came up to the side of the booth, like, is this your tune? And I'm like, yeah, like, oh, I've just literally downloaded this.
No way.
Yeah, so like when I walked in, like I went outside to the smoking area and I walked in, and then he was dropping my tune at the Warehouse. And it was just like...
That's a big compliment, especially if you were playing it earlier in the night and you thought everyone needs to hear this again.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I mean, I was in room 2, so like, it were 2 separate rooms, but he was like a proper, really sound guy, like, had a lot of time to speak to me and stuff. Sometimes, like, when I first started DJing, I'd be, like, nervous to speak to the DJs, because it's, like, I've been listening to Luke Van Dyke before I've ever had a set.
Yeah, he's a legend.
So, like, but he was, like, just proper lovely, like, down to earth.
Yeah, that's reassuring as well, I guess, because you're in the same industry as them, like, they're essentially your colleagues, aren't they? So it's nice to know that they're all, like, down to earth and nice.
Yeah, I'd say, like, 90% of DJs that I meet are just proper sound.
Yeah. Have you had any other surreal pinch me moments in your DJ career?
Quite a few. I don't know. It's hard to like pinpoint them.
Yeah.
I'd say like Mintfest are one of them, just because like I've imagined myself playing at Mintfest like on a main stage for ages.
Was that
even at
like
bar
growing up?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like I first started going when I was 19 when it was at the airport site. It was like, I don't know if you've been when it was like at a different site, but it used to be on like a flat airport.
No.
It was really
I didn't know about that.
Didn't you? It was really good, but like I get why they've moved it now. I think this year like the best Mintfest I've been to probably.
Yeah. Cool.
Like the way the stages were set up, it was really good.
So that was a big moment for you. Is there any others that come to mind?
Probably like when I played Testbed the first time.
I remember seeing the content from that. I looked sick.
Yeah, and the second, like both times I played there were really good. Because it's just like a massive crowd.
I saw one time you went back to back with Emma.
Yeah.
Did you go back to back the second time you played there as well, or did you do a solo set?
No, that was the second time.
Okay.
The first time, like one of the first Testbeds, it was Slado.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Full circle moment with us on his label.
And there was like, when I met Slado then, they were like, oh, send me some music. James, I was chatting to James mostly. And he was like, oh, send us some music. And I kept sending it. And then this tune, like, I think they'd already like been on, I already sent them this tune like last year. And then when my manager sent it to Armada, they run it past Slado, and that's how he came out with Sola. Right.
That's really cool. So it came out Armada and Sola. They're 2 separate labels.
So Armada like do the distribution, like run all the background of it. So it's
Right,
still like
I see.
Slado's label, but they basically run it.
Got
if you
you.
know what I mean.
No, interesting, because I'd seen that and I wasn't quite sure like how that worked. So that's
Yeah.
interesting. On the topic of your DJ career, how would you, I feel like DJs don't, it's a difficult one to answer, but how would you describe your sound as a DJ?
Quite a varied style. But I'd say it's like, it's quite in your face, quite, but groovy at the same time. So like every set I'll play differently really. Like if I'm warming up for a house artist, obviously like play a lot slower, but if I'm like closing the rave, then I'll just like play whatever I want really. Like at Mintfest, because it's like a festival set, and the DJ on after me, Kyle Stark, he plays really heavy, so I just felt like I can just play whatever I want here.
Yeah, I love that like freedom to just like get everyone really excited.
Yeah.
Do you tend to plan your sets beforehand? Do you go with the flow, somewhere in between? How do you sort of approach that?
I'll make a playlist, but I never like plan the order of the set. So I like sometimes if it's like a big set like Mintfest, like I knew what tunes I were opening with, but I didn't plan all of it.
Yeah, that's a good way to go. Definitely.
Yeah,
Trust yourself.
If you plan it and like one tune ain't working, it'll just throw your full set off.
Yeah, very true. Do you get nervous before your DJ sets?
Yeah. As soon as you mix your first tune in, for me, it just goes. I think nerves are quite like actually a good thing, I think. Obviously, if it's like stopping you from doing it, it's bad. But normally, if I'm nervous, I just know it means a lot to me. So
yeah, it shows you care.
Yeah. As soon as I play one or two tunes, it like the nerves go away, especially if the crowd's like liking the music.
Because it's you and your decks that you know, like you know the deck, you know the music, and then
definitely. I try like imagine I'm just at a house party. That's what I tell myself.
Yeah. I mean, they're your mate, aren't they? They let you do what you love, so that's the way I look at it. Is there a particular set, other than we've talked a bit about Mintfest, which sounds insane? Is there any other sets that have stuck with you for a particular reason?
Probably. I played for Heavy House Society at Mint Warehouse.
Oh, cool.
I just remember that set like I run decks that I'm not really used to, you know, Alan and Heath.
Oh yeah.
But I've played them quite a few times, but it's not like my go-to.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like playing on them, my set was like one of the best sets I've done because I was just focusing just on the tracks and if they were blending together.
Hi.
I just remember that set like probably like one of my best sets I've done.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
It was December, so like I remember like in the morning it had blown up, and I remember I played that tune and like everyone was singing it in the loft upstairs in Mint, and I was just like I felt that feeling of, wow, I've got some here, like this tune could be big.
That sounds like a moment.
Yeah, it was definitely.
What's the maddest, craziest thing that's happened to you during one of your own DJ sets? Have you had a moment where you've been like, oh no, like I need to deal with this?
Oh yeah, I've actually got a good story. So I was closing Mint Warehouse, like in the main room, and like I had this file, so it was a version of In the Morning. And I tested it when I went to the studio the next day to test it. So like, it were like a brand new CDJ 3000. And when I plugged in to play the tune, it was like 5:30 in the morning. So it's like, you've got to really try hard to keep people there.
Yeah.
And I played In the Morning, and right before like the first breakdown, the CDJ just paused on the tune.
No, and that's the worst track for it to pause.
Yeah, I felt like half the people like left because it was like,
no,
the CDJ was just glitched out, and I put it on another deck, but because I was panicking, like I played it from the start instead of like putting it right as the build-up were coming in. But I played a different version, and the next day, like I played that version on my decks at home, and it did the same thing, like glitched. I've never had that happen in my life.
Did you ever get to the bottom of what that was?
No, I just like deleted the file off everything, like every USB, my computer.
That is like, we're so lucky to have this amazing technology, but I guess that is the downside of not playing physical records anymore, that you never know these things.
No, and like now, like before I set, I'll double check every tune I've exported. I'll like double check on my decks that they don't.
Yeah.
I've never had that happen before though. It's really weird.
And again, since hopefully.
No, never since. And like I've asked people about it, like other DJs, and I've never heard of it happening. You go into panic mode.
Yeah.
You never really want to be in panic mode when you're DJing.
Yeah.
It just makes you overthink every decision.
100%, and the crowd can probably feel it as well a little.
Yeah, if you're like anxious, I feel like everyone can feel it.
Chatted a little bit about your manager. I feel like he's played quite a key role in your career so far. Could you tell us a little bit about how you got to know your manager, how that came about, you having a manager?
Yeah, so Foz has been working for Mint Warehouse for like, I think it's 20 years now.
Wow.
They've been promoting clubs in like, before I was even born, like promoting events and stuff. And I was just, they were already managing my good friend Emma 2000. She changed the name now to Emma 2000.
Yes.
He was already managing Emma. And I think he just kept seeing my name on like the same lineups and other lineups in Leeds. So we were already managing her for like a year. And then he gave me a message saying like, oh, I've forgotten what he said now, but it was like, oh, he wanted to work with me really. So he came to my studio when I still had the studio here. And we just like, had like a 2-hour conversation. And then from there, he's been a manager since. So I think this was 2023. It's been like over a year, definitely now, like nearly 2 probably.
And how would you say having Foz has helped you and changed your career?
I think like before that, because I was doing it all myself, like my own bookings, invoices and all that stuff, you run into issues, and it's when you're having to deal with that as an artist, it can like throw you off. And as an artist, you're gonna have like difficult conversations with brands, and like as an artist, you don't want to be the person saying that.
Yeah, because you want to, I guess, keep that friendly.
Yeah,
I know you don't.
I think the number one thing with Foz, I'll say something to him and he'll like give me a whole different view of it.
And that's really good. So I guess he's kind of like, does he help you out with other stuff outside of music sometimes as well? And
yeah,
just
definitely.
Like managing day to day.
It's like we're really good mates as well. I think that's why it works. So that's what he said to me. Like before I manage you, like let's just become pals, and that's what we've done really.
Because you've got to have a lot of trust in them, I guess. If you're
definitely.
Like, partly.
And I feel like with me and Foz, we're just straight up with each other. Like there's no real arguments because we just like tell each other what we think straight away. Nice.
That's really lucky that you've got someone. So like you say, you met Foz a couple of years ago, so early on in your career.
Yeah, definitely.
But not like that's. I feel like that's probably quite rare meeting your manager so young.
He always says as well, like he's literally seen artists come in the scene and come out of it. So he like knows what mistakes not to make.
It probably like saves you a lot of time, and a lot of mistakes that you could have made.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd love to chat a little bit about your label and your party, Redefy. Could you tell us a little bit about Redefy and how that came about?
Yeah, so I came up with the idea when I was in uni. I was living in that Marsden house, I've never lived there. Like, that's the worst thing I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard good things about Marsden House.
I think if I were younger, I'd have enjoyed it. I was like 21 when I went to uni. I just really wanted to move out, just so I could make more tunes. To be honest with you, like, I had no real interest in a degree. It was just like a way to like make loads of music in a year, but I didn't enjoy myself living there. Yes, there was like a sign like next to the building. It might still be there, next to Marsden House. It like redefine your business. So like that word redefine like stuck with me. So I just started like drawing it out, like different ways of spelling it. At first it was just Redefy with like an I.
Okay.
But then everyone were calling it Redefy. So I like changed the name. And in 2023 then like I did my first release with it. So I actually had the idea for like a year or 2 before I did anything with it.
Was the goal mainly to have a label sort of as it somewhere for you to release your own tunes to begin with, or was it more because you wanted to start the parties? What was the main incentive? I
always knew I'd like eventually do parties, but yeah, I was just like, I had these tunes that didn't really fit any labels, but like they were good tunes. Like some big DJs downloaded the first release and I was just like, I'm just gonna put it out myself, like.
Yeah, and what would you say the sound for Redefy is similar, I guess, if you've released on it, but is it similar to your sound as a DJ and producer, or what sort of the sound like on Redefy?
It's pretty much like tunes that I play out. That's what like, if I sign something, it just means I'm playing it loads. So it's not really like a strict genre. It's in between a couple of genres. Like I'm going to release some tech house, some garage on there. Like you could play it all in the same set.
I like that. Yeah. What actually goes into running a record label? Because I think a lot of people, it's something you hear about, people being label heads and people, running their own labels. But I feel like a lot of people don't actually know what goes into running a record label. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
I think nowadays, like, it's mainly admin and like getting your tunes heard by the right people. I think that's the biggest. Like, if I'm bringing a tune out that's not mine, it's like I feel like it's my responsibility to get it heard by DJs, and a lot of it is social media now, like knowing how to promote stuff on social media and like using different TikTok pages to like promote the tunes. There's so many ways now to like break a tune. But I think that the biggest part of it is like admin work, just setting the label up, setting the releases up, and just trying to get it heard by as many big DJs as possible, really, like getting the right ears to it.
Yeah, and do you do that all yourself, or do you have a team at your label?
I just do that all myself at the minute.
Yeah. Gosh, busy.
Yeah.
Busy. What would you say so you kind of covered it, but what would you say the main challenges of having a record label are?
Probably time, and like when someone's trusted you with their music, it's like a lot of pressure. You want to do it justice and like make sure it's a successful release. So yeah, there is a lot of challenges, because sometimes like I'll be planning a release, planning a party, then trying to like do my own releases in between, and sometimes it's like quite a lot. But I think as it grows, I'm gonna like start, like my dream is to like one day like I won't even be running the label, like someone else will be just doing all that bit.
Yeah, because you are kind of doing the job of like 5 different people, I guess, with everything that you're doing at the minute.
Yeah, and I think that sort of helps me, because I've always like, since a young age, I've always been like doing graphic design and like videography. I'd say this to any DJ that's like coming up. It's good to like know a bit of graphic design, a bit of video editing, because it's like saves you a lot of money when you're starting out, because it don't make sense to like spend loads of money on like graphics when you're starting out, because it is, if you go to someone else, it is really expensive to get graphics done.
Yeah, so did you do all your graphics for your label yourself?
Yeah, like even for the events and stuff, like all the graphics.
No way. That's really cool. I think that's probably quite rare. I reckon a lot of people, like you say, do go for graphic designers. Even if you found the first year of uni, aside from music, quite tricky, that's great that you have.
Yeah, definitely. I don't regret it. Definitely, like, I wouldn't have come up with the label. I wouldn't have had that time where, like, so I've had a job since I was 16. Like, after school, I did 1 year in college, and then I was just working. So like, I never got that like break to just like find out what I actually wanted to do, because before uni, I had like 20 different jobs. I just couldn't do it. Like, I've got quite bad ADHD. So like every job I had, I'd be like motivated for 2 weeks. Then the week after, I'd just be like, I'd find it unfair that I had to go to work. And that sounds ridiculous. I used to just hate working, like hate every job. I've had jobs where they've been all right, but like after like a couple of months, I just find myself like, I can't do this anymore.
It's interesting that you mention about ADHD, because you do hear, especially in dance music, a lot about ADHD and how a lot of people that are into dance music do have ADHD. So it's interesting, because having your 20 jobs before sounds like it's probably set you up quite well, because you do, like we say, have to do so many different jobs in terms of DJing, running your label. Yeah,
it's definitely helps me. I think I've been self-employed now since like August 2023. It's not been easy. Like, I probably quit my job like way earlier than I should have, but I'm sort of glad I did, because it's like taught me how to like manage my money. Is like being self-employed. You always have to like have a bit of a buffer, because you never know what's around the corner. So it's taught. I learned the hard way. Like, I remember when I quit my job, like my parents weren't happy. They were like, "Why have you just?" So I just thought, like, I came home from work, I'm like, yeah, I've handed in my notice.
Understandable. What were your jobs before you went full-time in music?
So I was a sign maker. That was my last job before I quit.
Right, like, signs for what?
You like Morrison's, when you walk into Morrison's?
Yeah.
And they've got like the big window things. I would like putting like the stickers on there. It was actually a good job. It wasn't a bad job. Yeah. But I was doing that till like 5:30 every night. Then doing music till like 2 in the morning. And I was just getting ill. Because I was like overtired. And I've worked in a trolley factory, printing the stickers for that. I've worked in like a catalogue company, like putting like the pictures in the catalogues. I've done all sorts. I've worked at like a fireproof as well.
A fireproof?
Fireproof, that only lasted like 5 months.
I don't know what that is.
It's like, they were building like Premier Inns, and like after the Sparkies have like put all the wires in, we had to like fill in the holes and like make sure the building's like fireproof.
No way. I feel like you've lived like 10 different lives. That sounds like something you've got to be pretty well qualified for. I mean, health and safety.
You have to do like health and safety courses, but they let you. It's not that dangerous, like.
Don't know if I'll stay in a Premier Inn again. I just stay home.
Oh, I don't know if it's.
Oh, that's funny. Right, cool. So, what's next for your label, Redefy?
I'm doing a 4-track EP next month. I've sort of been like holding my music because I had 8 months of not releasing like officially because I feel like if whatever I put out, people are just like, oh, we want in the morning. I sort of felt that like anything I'll put in loads of new music on TikTok and people were liking it, but most of the comments were like, yeah, but where's in the morning? So I was just like, right, I'm just focused on this release. I sort of think because it were 8 months, it like not held me back, but I felt like I had to hold my music back a little. Whereas now I'm just gonna put out loads of music for the rest of the year. Nice, exciting. So when have you got a date for the first that EP to come out? The 5th of July at the minute. Nothing changes. Exciting. Well, I'm looking forward to listening to that. And then have you got any Redefy parties coming up? Yes, the week after. Oh, nice. The week after the release? Yeah. Nice. Cool. Have you got the lineup confirmed yet, or is that still in the confirmed.
It's confirmed. Who have you got playing?
Seb's Eater, Deck Duffy, me, Sam Knows if needed, and we've also got Emma 2000's playing with Neva. She's a DJ from Liverpool. Yeah, cool. I've also got my mate from London coming up as well. It's called Fix. He got me like my first set in London when I was 21. No way, where was that? So in lockdown, I don't have to blur out his name, but they had like these lockdown boats. So when everything was shut, Londoners was carrying on partying on these boats. So right after lockdown ended, it messaged me on Instagram like, oh, do you want to come play on a boat in London on New Year's Eve? And I'm like, yeah. Like, I sort of I cancelled the plans that I had for New Year's Eve and just went to London on my own, but it was just like proper good. Like, from the north, it's hard to sort of get into the London scene because it is sort of its own bubble. So that's really cool. Like, I feel like I was playing in London quite a bit a few years ago when like Cocaine came out because my sound was a lot more tech house. Whereas I've only done like one London gig this year. I'm hoping to like get down there again and start like playing my sound in London. And where's your party? What venue's your party in July? It's at District again, yeah. Cool. You brushed a little bit on social media in terms of, I mean, it sounds like it's contributed a lot to the success of In the Morning, but also your Instagram is really sharp and you can really see what you're about as a DJ. What is your approach to social media now? I think my approach now is like not overthinking it, just like trying to be yourself, because I think like last year I went through a period where I was just like, I was being so self-critical of every person, like, I don't know, just like proper looking at engagement all the time. Whereas now, like, I've just stopped caring, and that seems to have helped, like, just putting whatever out there, not caring what everyone thinks. And I feel like people can sense that when, like, you don't proper overthink everything. You're only going to see what works for your page, because everyone's page is going to be different. If you, like, you do some posts that don't do well, and then you're like, oh, what can I do better for the next post? Like, 100%. And people like just seeing a bit of everything, don't they? Like, yeah, you don't want it too curated. No, that's the thing. Like, you just want to post what you feel like. Like, I noticed the biggest people on TikTok are just posting like themselves doing something stupid. Like a video that blew up. Like, I was sort of like in TikTok jail, you know, when you're like stuck under like 2,000 views. And Foz in Ibiza like videoed me like within the morning, playing it right loud next to me with his speaker. And I didn't want to post it, and like Foz were like, nah, you need to post it. Or like, nah. And then like Armada were like, nah, you need to post that video. And I posted it, and that just like instantly blew up. So I think after that I've learned like, even if you're not happy with how you look or the video, just post it. And just people just like seeing the DJ as just a person, like, and just seeing like the raw and filtered stuff. That leads me on to my next question. What sort of content do you find does the best? Just like stuff that I don't expect to do good. Yeah. Like when I've like edited a video for ages, or like it's like sometimes like the really high quality stuff, I find that does really well on Instagram. Like I sort of split up, like Instagram like is like polished. Then TikTok I treat like my Snapchat story almost, like just random stuff. And do you find that works pretty well in terms of engagement? definitely.
Yeah.
Like for in the morning, like I did a video just me like frying eggs, just like some, you know,
With the track playing.
With the track playing.
And nah, you wouldn't think to do that. Like you think like, okay, I gotta, you know, get my videographer.
Yeah.
This like very curated thing. But I guess people like a bit of both, don't they? Like making your breakfast with your tune playing. It
is good to do like the more high quality stuff, but I even like see like big DJs like MK. All of his content on TikTok is just done with a phone, and it feels natural. Yeah. Whereas like the higher quality stuff is like, I still post it on TikTok, but I sort of aim that more towards Instagram now.
Yeah, it's great to have both. People love to see both, and I guess it shows you in like all your different forms and your personality as well. In terms of working with a videographer, what's that like? Because I know that you've done that recently, and that content looks really sharp. How do you find the process of working with a videographer, and would you recommend up and coming DJs to invest in something like a videographer?
I think definitely invest, but make sure it's like a big set, because you don't want to invest money if it's like there's not many people there, which sometimes it can be good. But you're better off like saving it for when you start getting like bigger sets, I think.
Yeah. Or
like a set where you know it's going to be really good energy. A lot of brands now will have a videographer at all times. So like even at Mint, there were 2 videographers. There were Harry Wilkinson. He was just like Mint's videographer, so he was like walking around doing loads. And then Mason, like, I booked him just for my set because it was like such a big moment in my career. I wanted it like fully filmed.
And how did you get to know Mason? Did you find him on Instagram, or was he a friend?
So he was actually like 3 years below me in the same school. But we didn't know each other in school.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just started like, I think we met at a rave. He was like filming someone else's set. And yeah, we just became mates from there, really.
And what would be your advice to someone that's struggling a little bit with engagement and getting traction online? What would be your main advice?
Just perseverance. That's the only way through it. It's like everyone starts from nothing, really. And sometimes like when you're starting out and you're doing it on your main Instagram, it's like all the people that know you, they might think, oh, what is he doing? Like, because to them you're just like, I was just Mason, whereas now you're trying to sell something. So the first like year can be really tricky when you're starting like just pushing DJ stuff. But I think the only way to do it is perseverance. Like, before In the Morning came out, before it blew up, I wasn't really getting much traction on TikTok, but I was posting like every other day. And then that was the one that just blew up, like my first video to like properly blow up. And from there I've just learned like, don't even worry what the video, just post it. Like it's just like, on average, something's going to work. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like the more you do, the more chance you have, really. Because
I guess you don't know which videos are going to take. No. And you know, like you say, the one that Foz took of you that you would have never posted, it did well. So yeah, you just got to trust it. I was sort of annoyed that that's like the one video that's like done well is me being really rough in Ibiza. Yeah. It did better than like the first In the Morning video. You just got to get to a point where you're just like, I don't care anymore. I'll just stopped caring about it. Yeah. Nice. And then I'd like to know a little bit about the parts that we don't see on social media. What happens in your career that you just wouldn't really post about on social media? Obviously, like social media is like a highlight reel. But especially when you're self-employed, like it's not all fun. It's not like, I feel like people think DJing is like, it is the best job in the world and I love it. Like I'm so grateful for it. But there's times in everyone's career where everyone's like, is this right? Because like In the Morning took that long to come out. I was like, I've missed my moment sort of thing. It's like, I think people don't see their moments, but it's like, it can be quite tough. How do you deal with those doubts and that pressure? So it's just perseverance, I feel like. And so, like a lot of times when you're in that mindset, you'll do like one set and you're like, yeah, I'm sound now. Or just like go back to back with your mate, at the studio, just do something. To remind you why you do it? Yeah, because you can get lost in like the business side of it. And sometimes you forget like why you started it. So what would you say is the best part about DJing? DJing. The actual DJing. That's the best part. I find like, because I make music and spend a lot of time like in the studio, like I find DJs like the reward for all the work.
if you know what I mean.
I love that. I love that way of putting it.
Yeah.
No, really cool. And then looking ahead to the future, what is coming up for you? What can we look out for?
So I've got more events coming, like the one on the 12th. Doing Beat Herder. I've got some sets coming up in cities I've never played before. Like I think I'm playing Leicester, Blackpool. There's somewhere else I've never played before as well.
All over.
Yeah, all over. And I think like my biggest goal this year is to try and get like a set in Amsterdam or abroad.
Yeah. Cool. So it's been great to chat with you. I feel like we've covered so much, and like you just got so many interesting stories, and I definitely think that listeners can learn a lot from you, even though you are still so young and at the start of your career. Like you just have shared so much insightful things. So yeah, thank you so much. I'd love to give your brain a little bit of a chill so you don't have to go into any long-winded answers. We like to play a game of this or that on the podcast. Are you down to play a game of this or that? Amazing. Right, we've got 20 questions. Just answer off the top of your head. So number 1, festivals or nightclubs?
Nightclubs.
Digital or vinyl?
Digital.
Ableton or Logic?
Ableton.
Analog synths or digital plugins?
Digital plugins, just because that's what I use.
Cool. Night owl or early bird?
Night owl.
Studio time or playing live?
Playing live.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Techno or drum and bass?
Drum and bass.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Solo sets or back-to-backs?
Probably solo sets.
City or countryside?
City.
Collaboration or remix?
Collaboration.
Preferred BPM, 120 or 130?
130.
Pre-party or after party?
After party.
Beach party or warehouse rave?
Right now, probably beach party, because I really want to be in the sun.
Yeah, fairs. Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Muddy festival or dusty festival?
Dust all the way.
Sunglasses or bucket hat at a festival?
But sunglasses. I want to say both.
Yeah, go for both. Why not? You only live once. Sweet or savoury for your post-gig snack?
Savoury.
Smashed it. Got through them really quick. Nice. Cool. So the last question that I'd love to ask you is, if you could go back and meet yourself at the very start of your journey in the music industry, what advice would you give to yourself?
Don't party too much. Stay sober for like some gigs. So that's probably been like the biggest learning curve, is like you can't party every time. If it's your job especially. That's what I'd probably tell myself, like younger self. I wouldn't have listened, but...
That's really good advice. Yeah, because I think that's probably a misconception that that's what's involved in...
Some people can do that, and they'll be like, they'll be sound for years, but I just can't, like, I can't DJ all the time and like party all the time. This year's first year, I'm going to do like some sets sober, like more sets sober than drinking. I hope to anyway, but...
Yeah, nice. Cool. And where can people find you on socials?
Just Mason Talbot and everything.
Wicked. Thank you so much, Mason. It's been amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Only just begun. Gonna take my time. Keep pushing on. Like rising fire. We move beyond. Heart is beating like a drum. Yeah, get ready for some fun. Moon comes up, the night is young. And we've only just begun. Only just begun. Only just begun. Only just begun. Only just begun.